What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bodacious Rant with Burn and Rye. Hope everybody's doing great. I know it's been a hot minute since our Beetlejuice review, which if you haven't checked it out, feel free to do so. It's on there. Yeah, we're definitely kind of in the slow point of the season, of the year, really, because it's kind of hit and miss with movies. Not a lot's coming out, but I think as we get into more October, November, we're definitely going to start seeing some more award contenders and stuff like that. So,
yeah, that transition period from summer blockbusters to the big Oscar push movies.
It always feels off at the theaters. Like there's definitely, like the last couple weekends, there's definitely I felt like been slim pickings where I'm just like, do I really want to go see that? Or is it even worth it? Even with A-list and stuff, it's still I pick the movies I want to go see because you can't just. It's time. Time is money. So, anyways, we are talking about a movie that I actually was not looking forward to, like, at all. I was really dreading this movie since the trailer premiered. And that is the latest Hasbro Entertainment movie, which is Transformers 1, starring Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime, Brian Tyree Henry from the Spider-Verse movies, and Bullet Train, and Atlanta. He was Megatron, ScarJo as Alita, and Keegan-Michael Key as Bumblebee, and a slew of other big-name actors in the movie. This is non-spoiler, so we're not going to get too deep into it, but if you do happen to like the video or like the movie, please give us that thumbs up. We do appreciate it. Of course, don't forget to ring the bell to stay up to date with notifications, and of course, subscribe just to keep growing the Ranted community. We appreciate you all for that. So this is essentially a new Transformers movie, like it's a reboot of the Transformers lore, essentially. I'm not sure how accurate it is to the old, like, TV shows or comics or anything like that. There's been some Transformers is one of those franchises. It's like there's so much more media out there than I know, and it's like it's a little hard to keep up with it all. So
from my understanding, it's like a mix between the old cartoons and a lot of the new lore introduced in the comic books in particular.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially with characters like Sentinel Prime making their return, which is played by John Hamm. Like he was in the Transformers Dark of the Moon, which is already like 14 years old, which is crazy. 13 years old movie now. And yeah, a bunch of other characters I never really heard of before, so I thought it was very interesting. And then when the trailer first dropped, I was like, we're going to, like, again, it's definitely more of a kids movie, and the animation's kind of like that one news show that was on Cartoon Network where it was CGI and they looked really weird and stuff. So I was already turned off by it to begin with, because there's a meme going around, especially with this movie coming out, that the first 15 minutes or the first intro to Bumblebee was the best Transformers media we've gotten ever. And I'm inclined to agree with it, because that intro scene with Bumblebee and Optimus Prime and all that stuff was just awesome. That was the perfect blend of the old school design and then the modern day Michael Bay-esque kind of alien looks. So, but I was really surprised with this. I did not expect to like it this much. I think Chris Hemsworth and Brian Tyree Henry had really good, again, it's voice acting, so I don't know how much chemistry you could really have, but you felt that with the characters and the animation. Speaking of which, the trailers do no justice for it. Watching it in IMAX was like seeing all the grains in the metal and the sheen and the colors. It was like just wow. Like I was very impressed with it in the end, and yeah, I'm just glad I did not hate it. Bern, what did you think about this movie?
I think I just need to go back to not watching any trailers anymore, because the trailers that we have gotten this year have by and large been pretty horrible and haven't done a good job, to me at least, in selling the movies that they're trying to sell. For this one in particular, because I absolutely hated that trailer for this movie. It did not make the movie look appealing to me at all. Like, it looked like it was doing the thing that a lot of the franchises have been going around for a long time, just making it a little bit too kiddie, a little too much jokiness. And just like not taking the source material seriously by any means. It gave me the impression of the complete opposite of what this movie ended up being. Yeah, I was completely surprised by this one, and I'm happy to say so because, yeah, I would say like I'm a pretty casual fan of the Transformers franchise as a whole. I played some of the games. I've watched maybe a few of the cartoons. The Michael Bay movies are probably the biggest thing I've seen from them. And, they haven't been all that great in terms of representing the brand as a whole. So the fact that we got this movie, I felt like it just nailed what I feel like Transformers is, just really interesting characters. Really cool that we get to see, this world before a lot of the events that we usually see in the Transformers. This being sort of like a prequel to all of them. So I like digging into that one, digging into their society, and just seeing Transformers and their stories, and without the whole muddling of an annoying human story at the center that distracts from everything else that's like super interesting about this franchise. So yeah, I thought they just absolutely nailed it. Like you mentioned, a lot of the voice cast here did a pretty great job, and in particular, Brian Tyree Henry, who has been killing it in the voice acting scene, lately with his role in the Spider-Verse movies. But what he brings to Megatron here is just makes me look at the character in a completely different way. So I thought like he did a fantastic job, and I thought they wrote that character really well. And yeah, I mean, look, what you said about the animation, it's pretty gorgeous to look at. Even though it does have some of those more kiddish tendencies, I kind of liken it to it being like, yeah, it is embracing that sort of Saturday morning cartoon feel. That being sort of like they're going like throwing way back to the beginnings of this franchise when it was just a cartoon to sell toys. So I like that they took that but sort of evolved it into what we have here, where yeah, you do get all that really cool detail in the characters themselves and in the environments around them. It's just really really fun to look at.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get Hollywood, man. Like, fans, especially when it comes to this franchise, we just want more robots, less people. And while Bumblebee got the human aspect right, Rise of the Beast kind of muddled it. Just because while I like the actors in that one, I rewatched it and I'm like, it's not bad, but it drags. And then what they did with Wheeljack's design, because looking at the old school, I hate to say it, the old school G1 Generation 1 designs are still pretty solid. They're definitely, while they're super simple, they have that otherworldly feel. So I think the live action ones just keep rising it up and then just tearing it down for whatever stupid reason. And this movie, it was all about the Transformers, and yeah, while it was very kiddie, it is a kid's brand essentially in a way. But I think this is a movie that if you're an old school fan of Transformers, and then maybe if you do have kids or anything like that, this is a movie for you. Like you could definitely enjoy this. So that's why I was like, you know what, I was very surprised by it actually. And ScarJo wasn't bad. She was definitely anyone that wasn't Chris Hemsworth and Brian Tyree Henry were definitely supporting actors in this one. But I will say I was actually very happy with Keegan Michael Key's performance as Bumblebee, because the trailers, again, they already made him seem like he was going to be the most annoying person. And while he did have some moments that were like, okay, really? But again, he's to service the whole kids aspect of it, so I could see that. Having said all that, I did not see this coming, so I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5, just because the animation was good and the story with Optimus, or Orion Pax before he became Optimus Prime, and then D16 before becoming Megatron. Their origin stories were so well done, and yeah, it does put it into a light. Like it's kind of a tale as old as time. People growing up together and then seeing what power does to them. Which paths they take. But the way this did it made it very justifiable for both of them and how they got to where they got. So it'll actually, future movies, if they do a sequel, which they kind of did potentially hint at, I think it's definitely going to make the story hit a lot better. So yeah, 4 out of 5 for me. I highly recommend this movie, especially going into the fall season.
I mean, look, this is one of those animated movies that does it right, where you can bring your kids and they're gonna enjoy it, but you as an adult will walk away from it finding a lot of things to enjoy. In particular, a lot of the older fans of the Transformers franchise. It feels like this one does a good job of honoring the old fans and potentially bringing in some new ones into it. And I very much enjoyed a lot of just how simple and fun the story is, but how there were a lot of sort of messages and like little like things in there for like adults to like really enjoy too. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of made for everybody. So I really did walk away really happy from this one. Yeah, this is gonna be a 4 out of 5 for me as well. Honestly, the only nitpicks I have are like within the third act, in terms of the first two acts just do such a really good job of showing me something new with this franchise, in terms of building up the characters with Optimus and Megatron in particular, and building out the world that I've been wanting to explore more in a lot of the other things. So I did enjoy that. In the third act, it does get into the more familiar territories. If you've seen the Transformers, you've kind of seen what happens in the third act, but up until that point, it's just so much fun and so much richness there that I can just forgive the third act for just having a good time and letting it get fun. So yeah, like I said, 4 out of 5 for me. Surprisingly, I'm glad that I can recommend this wholeheartedly to people.
Yeah, this was a movie I was like ready to bash and stuff. I mean, again, I don't want to try and go into a movie not looking forward to it or just tearing it down, but there are going to be those movies, like not everyone's going to like them, but I think this is definitely one of the ones that it was just a lot of fun for anyone, really. So yeah, for those of you who did happen to catch it this weekend, besides Sunday football and stuff like that, or Saturday football, let us know what you thought of in the comments. We'd love to keep that conversation going and get everybody's feedback regarding the movie. And until next time, everyone, just stay bodacious and keep on ranting for us.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and as always, we'll catch y'all on the next one.